Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you all had a lovely weekend. So our adventure weekend we had planned didn't quite happen, mainly due to the weather. So the weather is supposed to be better this coming weekend, so we have now shifted it across. However, Sunday we did manage to take the dogs down to Ferring Beach. This is a really beautiful beach, and if you time it for when the tide is out, you can convince yourself you're on a sandy beach. For those of you outside of the UK, the southeast coast and lots of beaches all around the UK are pebbles. It was really pretty down there. The dogs go absolutely nuts, and Leela was particularly adorable with her ears flapping in the wind. She is slightly scared of water, so every time a wave comes up to her, she runs the other way, but they absolutely go bonkers down there, just charging about like a couple of maniacs. So we finally got some actual real royal news, and that was, we're going to start with, on Saturday the 26th of August, we saw King Charles and Queen Camilla at a ceremony inside Balmoral Castle grounds. The ceremony was to present the Royal Guard a new colour, which is a regimental flag. The balloter colour is the colour used by the Royal Guard who protect Balmoral Castle while the monarch is in residence. And the new colour, the change in colour, represents the change in monarch from Queen Elizabeth II to now King Charles III. Now, I have to say, Queen Camilla looked really lovely. She looked really happy and she had a gorgeous smile on her. But it's the hat. It's the hat. I love a hat. For those of you who know me at winter, absolutely gorgeous. I've got a red beret like that as well. So I'm thinking, come this winter, I might get myself a little feather clip and spruce it up a little bit for when we go out. But it wasn't the only hat that I saw over the weekend that a member of the royal family was wearing that looks a little bit familiar. The Prince and Princess of Wales were photographed on their way to Cratty Kirk Royal Church, which is in the grounds of Balmoral, and check out Catherine's hat. And now I know why the hat looks so familiar, because Catherine is wearing the same hat, different colour, as me. She's got a slightly flashier feather, but I was like, oh, I bought this hat last year when I was in Oxford. So maybe I was the inspiration for Catherine. Maybe I need to send her a basket full of lemons, because if you remember, if you don't get the reference, Meghan saw Jill Biden wearing a similar lemon dress and thought that Jill Biden was sending her a secret message that she was supporting her from afar, and she sent her a basket of lemons to say thank you. So yes, as I said, perhaps Catherine likes my style. So this church outing that they went to, it's the first time that the family have all been together up at Balmoral since the passing of the Queen last year, which, as we know, is coming up to the first year's anniversary. We saw an incredibly smiley and happy Sophie and Edward, which was lovely to see. I think this couple are adorable. I love them. They just looked incredibly happy, were more than happy to give a smile to the photographers, as was a rather radiant looking Lady Susan Hussey. It's so nice to see Lady Susan being at, I guess, front and centre, at the forefront of the family and included like she was before, because as we know, there was that really disgusting race baiting attempt that was done on her last year by Marlene from Hackney. So thankfully everyone saw that for what it was eventually. I wonder whatever happened to her. Last I heard, she stepped down from that charity, but you know, who knows, who cares? She had her 5 minutes of fame. But the person that was attending that caused the most hoo-ha on social media was the fact that the Prince and Princess of Wales showed that they are welcoming in Prince Andrew from the cold because he shared a car with them. Because Catherine at one point was sitting in the back of the car. The media ran with headlines that Andrew's coming in from the cold. The royal family are backing Andrew. The royal family have a show of unity because Prince Andrew was with them. And it's ridiculous because this was a private family church service. Whether people like it or not, we have the royal family. They are our royal family, but they are a family. He is part of that family, and it wasn't a public event. It was intrusive photographs, as per normal, by photographers trying to capture them on this way to this private service. But of course, it did what they wanted it to do, and it caused a little bit of a build-up, I suppose, a little bit of drama on social media. But I've seen this recently. There was a story that came out the other day that Prince Andrew is reportedly demanding to have his security reinstated. So, of course, as you can imagine, I jumped on board. I was like, hell no. That's not okay. He needs to lie low. But then when you actually read the story and look into it, it was an email from Priti Patel, one of our MPs, who was apologising to the King because she sent an an email and it got leaked to the public. It was her that was saying to King Charles about Harry and Prince Andrew's security. She said, for political reasons, the government would like to, keep it on review for whatever means and purposes. But it's obviously an ongoing thing. But the way that the media ran with it was Andrew's demanding this. So, of course, it got everyone back up on the anti-Andrew rampage. And the only thing that I can think of is why is because we're about to hear more stuff to come out to do with Epstein. Because whenever there is anything to do with, I don't know, the multiple other A-listers and politicians and ex-presidents that have been out to that island or on the flight logs, sure enough, Andrew gets his names thrown into the media. It's like they're acting like he's the only person that had a friendship with that man. But as far as it comes to Andrew being punished, this may not be a popular opinion, but I'll take it. At the end of the day, I think for what Andrew has actually been found guilty of, aside from being, completely arrogant, stupid, the fact that he has been taken to court, he has done a multi-million payout to Virginia, he has had his taxpayer-funded security stripped, he lost all of his military positions, charitable organisations, anything that was associated with him to do with the royal family was completely taken away from him. He has had his HRH, his Royal Highness, stripped from him as well. Andrew is basically now just a member of the royal family. He has got no public role whatsoever. On top of this, Andrew did himself a dirty, really, by doing that really badly ill-advised TV interview with Emily Andrews, where he showed his level of, I would say, limited intelligence as far as what the world perceived. He had no idea how bad it made him come across. Give a man a shovel. He really did make the situation 10 times worse. And the fact that he thought that that interview went well shows that he is living on a different level, very much the same as his nephew. They are definitely cut from the same cloth, these two. Now, all of this happened when Prince Philip and the Queen were in their final twilight years, and they've watched their second-born son, who they loved, go from a Falklands War hero to someone that was completely stripped of everything, that has publicly been absolutely trashed. He's brought shame onto the family, and Andrew is the one that has to live with that for the rest of his life. And I'm sure he is always going to have that guilt, because it was his own stupidity and arrogance where he decided to keep that friendship despite the way that it looked. And much like his nephew, it was like the more people that told Andrew, terminate this friendship, this looks bad, the more his arrogance shone through, his petulance, and he was like, no, I'm going to keep this friendship, he's my friend. It's the same as the number of people that tried to warn Harry off of marrying an actress. He turned against all of them and continued, I would say, even at a faster pace. He is very much like his uncle. They both grew up in the same privileged bubble with nothing but yes people around them, never having consequences to their own actions. But I am by no means defending Andrew. I am not sticking up for him, but I do feel for the one thing he was found reportedly guilty of, I think he's been suitably punished. This is his family at the end of the day. This is his mother that died, and it's the same people that kicked off when they saw him taking the Queen to Prince Philip's memorial. That was his father. And this amount of drama that's being caused about Prince Andrew being photographed going to a private family church service is ridiculous. But what's worse is people are comparing it to Harry and Meghan, saying, well, if Prince Andrew, for everything that he did, he's there, then they should be welcoming Harry and Meghan. It's like, Andrew didn't wage war on his family. Andrew self-destructed his life. Yes, Andrew came across and showed the world that he's arrogant, entitled idiot, but in all fairness, he did not blame his family, his upbringing, his parents, the military, the monarchy, the country. Andrew's TV interview was about himself. Yes, he was trying to dig himself out of the hole, and he made himself look even more stupid and in some ways more guilty. But he didn't tear down Queen and country for a paycheck. I don't understand how people can compare Andrew to Harry and Meghan and everything that they've done. It's not a case of apple and pears, it's more like apples and, I don't know, glass. It's completely different. Harry and Meghan have lied about their family members. They've done it on a worldwide stage to turn the public against their family. They've heaped false allegations of gross mistreatment, cruelty, racism onto a family that loved him and welcomed his wife. Harry tried to tear down the monarchy with his fame-seeking wife grinning by his side throughout the entire process. Meghan, the way she describes spending, well, it's less than 2 years, the 72 engagements, everything that she was given, all of the money, the jewels, the clothes, everything, what she describes as her brief time being a member of the royal family, it's like she married into a family of serial killers. What was that film? I remember Ready or Not, where the bride marries the groom and then as part of her wedding celebration, they deal a deck of cards and then the family all run round trying to kill her. It's like Meghan talks about what happened, how she barely escaped with her life, that every single member of that family tried to get Meghan, and of course the staff and the courtiers and everyone were trying to get Meghan to be pushed over the edge, that there was no support given to her. She barely escaped with her life. It reads like a really, really bad Netflix film. Not saying that Ready or Not was a bad film, because that was actually quite funny. Different, shall we say. But Harry has stuck his knife into every single member of his family multiple times. It's beyond satire at this point. It's obsessive. Both men have completely fallen from grace and have done so on a worldwide stage, but only one of them has turned into an angry, petulant, spiteful monster, hell-bent on causing nothing but pain and hurt to anyone who's ever loved him. I don't like Andrew, but I like Harry even less. Now let's move on to some deeply distressing news that I've heard. Meghan is reportedly going back on the multiple times she said she's not going back into acting, but apparently Meghan now is going back into acting. She feels now is the time and an Oscar might be in her future. Yes, Meghan is reportedly, as I said, these stories are just so ridiculous now. I'd say pinch of salt over everything. But she is reportedly ready for her Hollywood comeback. She can't have a comeback because Meghan never was part of Hollywood. She desperately tried to be, but she was very much a failed actress until she got her part as Rachel Zane on Suits. And even then, she was a bit part actress. She was a bit of fluff. She never got past number 6 on the call sheet. She was the main star's girlfriend. And she was also being written out of it when the main star was leaving. You know, they didn't think, oh, we'll keep Meghan in. She's such a brilliant, talented actress. She was being written out as well. But as part of Meghan's Hollywood comeback, she is reportedly, now this is a blind gossip, but it did make me chuckle. She reportedly is casting herself as the main role in a film that she's got Netflix to buy the rights to. Now, this totally sounds like Meghan. It's believable at this point. But she reportedly met up, or tried to meet up, I rephrase that, she reportedly tried to meet up with a super A-lister who ditched her last minute to go on a date with a 20-something-year-old. Well, there's only one famous A-lister that we know loves the 20-something-year-olds, and Leonardo DiCaprio. Now, sure enough, newspaper article shows that Leo was in Santa Barbara. So they're basically saying that Leo was the man, but he decided to pull out meeting Meghan at the last minute. The whole of Hollywood knows that Meghan is desperately social climbing. She's desperate to become an A-lister, and I can't see Leo falling for it, let alone taking a phone call from her. Plus, you know that even if he did arrange to meet up with her, he'd get out the car and the paparazzi would jump out from the car park, just conveniently lying in wait. Because the car park is how Harry and Meghan now operate their paparazzi strolls. This time, however, it's Harry. Harry has been spotted in a car park of a gym and with the backdrop of giant bins. You remember that video I called From Palace to Parking Lot? Well, now we've got From Balconies to Bins for Harry. In fact, I'm going to call the video From Balconies to Bins. But this is some of the seriously most unflattering photographs of Harry. He's reportedly, right, going to a gym. Now, I'm not being funny. We know that they bought that 16 bathroom mega mansion. It's got tennis courts, wine cellars, a home cinema. It's got tea houses, guest rooms. It's got absolutely everything, including a gym. Now, for those of you guys that read the junk magazines or, on social media, you see these celebrities, people like JLo, when they want to be photographed, they get caught outside of the gym banging on the door. They walk outside. You see Olivia Wilde. You see them all doing it. This is a typical paparazzi stunt because they've all got home gyms and personal trainers, dietitians, you name it. So this is obviously staged. Plus, it's People magazine who yet again have an exclusive with Harry. People magazine often still speak incredibly favourably of the couple, no matter what has been happening in the news. But what's worse in these photographs is the fact that Harry has gone from royalty to D-list merchant. He has taken a leaf out of his wife's book. He is merching water, and he is also doing it as badly as his wife does. One shirt sleeve rolled up as she's walking around with her hand on her head. Well, Harry, you see him photographed here. He's got, presumably, a stress ball. He's only allowed out the house with one ball because Meghan's got the other one in the safe. But he's also holding one of these posh water bottles, designer water in a carton. But as you can see, he's got it in the other hand and it's turned the other way. But in the next photograph you see, he's holding it in the same hand as the ball and he's holding it from the top and it's been perfectly positioned to show the photographer what product it is that he's merching. Of course, if you're going to merch, people have got to be able to see what it is you're selling. But the fact that Harry is pulling this face, I really hope it's because he's got internal embarrassment, because I felt embarrassed for him. I just can't honestly believe that this is the same Prince Harry. From everything he could have had, everything he did have, everything that, from friends, family, to the charities, the organisations, his military positions, the things that he always said made him the happiest. He's gone from everything he could have continued to have to basically merching like a D-list celebrity in front of BINS in a gym car park. And you just couldn't imagine more of a decline for someone who was once second to the Queen, the most popular royal in the UK. Now, you can't begrudge Harry and Meghan for trying to earn their own money, because running two separate households, I'm sure, is indeed expensive these days. Plus the fact Harry now has an additional gym membership on top. And more notably, Meghan's Invictus outfits are not going to pay for themselves. So speaking of Meghan earning her own money, I will be back in another video tomorrow where I will be talking about Meghan's return to Instagram. So I will see you guys later. Take care for now. Bye.